So the press, you have been, I'd say, in want of a better word, taking some battering in the press with regards to this handover, this $100 million. Because some people are saying they want it for something else. What do you, Shaggy, have to say about this?
Well, first of all, I have to
by
correct,
setting the narrative
I have to correct you when you say handover.
Yeah.
We never hand over money to anybody. If you look at the model of Shaggy and Friends, we do not hand over money. We always buy equipment, right? If there needs to be repairs, we do repairs. If we're on a project like when we build the cat lab, they built the cat lab and we furnished it with the machines. It has always been our model from day one, right? We owe that to our donors, who that was the narrative, right? That has been the model. That's what they invest in when they donate. So we cannot stray from that.
Okay. What will it take though for this thing to move forward? In other words,
it has already been moving. We had a lovely walkthrough today with the chairman, Kenny Benjamin, right? Got him up to speed about what is going on. He was there yesterday, he says, and he has been to different meetings also from before that. Now, a lot of this was been in talk for about a year and a half, started by Dr. James, who was the then SMO, you know what I mean? And so, and of course, we have Mr. Woods, who is the current CEO, and we've been having talks leading up to all of this to try and get the right one. We have to get the budget together. 2, we have to get drawings done. 3, we have to get contractors. We have to get all of them in place first and get the best. We don't talk about a contractor. We basically like I say, yeah man, I'm gonna build that thing here, but me have 5 other things what me are doing and them they're my priority, but that one I'm gonna just do it more. We want somebody that is passionate about.
You know what? We've all been there, innit? Where, you know what? I had a builder do some work on my yard a little while ago, and it's the same thing. Like, he wants to work, but at the same time, he's got 2 other projects over there. So every time I'm saying, yo, you're meant to be here at 9 o'clock to start the work, 9 o'clock come and goes, and I can't see him again, and he's on these other projects. So, but obviously, my thing weren't worth 100 million, so I understand exactly what you're saying. You can't just, if the project's worth 100 million or close to that, you can't just say, yo, let me bring my brethren through to come and do the thing, or just get some wishy-washy contractor. You know what I mean? You got to plan the thing proper. And I like the way how he started when he was asked about handing over the money, and he was off from the very start of the video. He corrected the man and said, no, we don't hand over the money. So you got to get that bit clear. Because from what I'm seeing in the news and what I'm seeing in the media, they're not putting that bit there over. They're saying, oh, he was meant to hand over the money. But he's saying in the contract, it's never, no, I'm not meant to hand over the money. That's not how we operate. We take care of the money and we get the suppliers and get the right people in. So already, you know what, I thought, I didn't want to pass any judgment before I heard what the man was saying for himself. But already I can see, yeah, I mean, all right, let me let him talk anyway, but it seems like something fishy's going on, and it's that typical media thing where they want to try and say man's doing wrong and man ain't even doing wrong again. So anyway.
About building this place and getting it right, and that takes time. That takes time of us going through and getting the right people involved.
But some people would argue,
yeah,
why is it taking so long?
Well, it depends on what you call taking long. Like I said, we've been sitting in 2 years of a pandemic, right? First of all, we had a plan first to build a brand new facility. Notice that we couldn't build a brand new facility because we didn't have enough land, right? We'd have to get land from JDF. We realized to get land from JDF might take way more hurdles. So them say, all right, we could go ahead and build a ward, right? At that point, I said, okay, let's try build a ward, use the money for something. Then we were told that under the Charges Act, we cannot do that because it was earmarked for that, it was raised for that. So, you know, I'm not going to break the law. You know what I mean? So I have to follow what the Charges Act said, okay, so after the ICU, then Dr. James came up with an idea and said, why don't we refurbish the existing one?
That's a fact. So that's the same thing that applies in the UK. If you set up a charity and then you say, right, I'm going to raise funds and the proceeds of this funds are going to be for this specific purpose, you can't then raise the money and suddenly say, nah, do you know what? I changed my mind. I said I was gonna give the money to the children in my area. Tutus, you raise more money than you thought you were gonna raise, and you say, you know what? Let me build a church with it instead, or let me start a little football team so the youth them can come and kick ball and all. Like, you can't do that. What you set out to raise the funds for is what you have to spend it on. Otherwise, like you said, it's against the law. So you can't just switch up the plans all of a sudden. It takes time, innit? It takes time.
Right? And expand it. And then we sat with our architect and go through and he started to say, yeah, you know, so we can push this wall out, make this little bigger, make this that. Matter of fact, we are a 5-bed facility. I think we can get a 7, which is what we have been doing for the last couple of months up until now.
So the final plan is to build a refurbish, not build from scratch.
Expand the existing facility and make it into a 7-bed facility.
From 5 to 7. Yes. And it will also have, based on our conversation previously, it will also have an
better offices, better storage rooms, you know, better pharmacy inside of the place, better place for you know, the parents then for come that they can grieve.
That is what I was going.
Lounges, stuff like that. We're trying to make it work.
What about accommodation for the parents? Because
as far as accommodation, I don't think we'll be able to get that in there. Okay. It might be a 1 or 2 per people, but I don't think it's that I think would have to be a separate project.
Okay.
And again, you run into the same problem where you might find land.
Okay.
For the people in the US who are saying that.
The only thing I say, is which part of expanding a 5-bedroom facility into a 7-bedroom facility costs $100 million? That's the only thing. Matter of fact, how much is that? Because that's 100 million Jamaican dollars, right? So let me convert that real quick. Hold on. Okay, so 100 million JA dollars equals about $650,000. So, all right, that makes more sense. That's a more understandable amount of money. There was me. See, I'm being ignorant. I was thinking when he said 100 million, I forgot to say it was 100 million Jamaican dollars and not 100 million US dollars. Because I was thinking, boy, 100 million US dollars, you could build a whole heap of something with that. You know what I mean? You could build whatever you want, a whole new facility and then some, if you had the land. But okay, so 650,000 US dollars. That's still a healthy amount of money, but that sounds more about right in terms of expanding a hospital. That makes sense. All right.
100 million is nothing because somebody donated $1 million with no fanfare. What do you have to say to them?
Well, put it this way. That person who donated that $1 million, kudos to them, 110%. But people fail to realize that prior to doing Shaggy and Friends, I was doing it for 9 years out of my pocket. I and Dr. Ennis, I used to walk in and give checks in by myself. I did not want the names of the year. I knew the names of the kids that was in the burn unit, right? I did a treat every single year and still continue to do that. That's before I started to do Shaggy and Friends. 9 years of that. So
prior to Shaggy and Friends?
Prior to Shaggy and Friends, I did it out of pocket.
Hot shot days.
For 9 years out of my pocket. Right? So I don't have nothing to say about another man that donate. By all means, I encourage people to come back and donate. Right? No problem. But we keep this so that we can sit down and somewhat help ourselves and try and make this thing go. And by all means, I didn't have to.
I know.
Hello. Because it's not going to be hard and about it, nothing. You know? But a lot of it was done on impulse. When I started, I walked in and saw this little child by the name of Peach. She had a bullet lodged in her head. I felt helpless the evening. I went home and I said, I want to do something else. Let's do a concert. I have never put a concert on in my life. So I went to the only person I know who put on a concert, and that's Sharon Burke. And I said, Sharon, help me do this. And she said, well, if I need sponsors, what do you know about sponsors? I don't deal with a sponsor in my life yet. And she brought me to a meeting, and I met William Mafood and a couple of people. William ended up being on my board. William says to me, Shaggy, you cannot raise money for charity and not create a foundation. I never know that. But he obviously knows that because his family does food for the poor.
Mm-hmm.
He took me under his wing and he guided me in setting up the Shaggy Make a Difference Foundation. And then we kept going after that. The first concert was a success, the second was a success. Boom. And it's a huge undertaking, you know what I mean, to present it the way it is. You know, and me literally going on the phone and begging artists to come do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Are you done doing it? Are you
That
done
is one
doing
question.
Shaggy
What's the
and
future
Friends?
of Shaggy and Friends?
This arm of Make a Difference. Are you done doing this?
I'll tell you what. In my heart of hearts, I would love to. Because you have to put the children in first and put what we're doing was we saw the good that it did. When you start to get attacked on your character like it did, remember it says Shaggy and Friends. There are also a lot of people that make up the friends that are behind the scenes. These are people that give their time, that involve their businesses, and that attach their businesses, right, to this brand. It was also an attack on their character at the same time, because they were also involved with us. So for me to go back and say, well, do that now, it's not a conversation for myself, it's a conversation that involves these people. And that in the preliminary conversations that I've had with them, you know, they're, you know, gutted and disgusted by the situation. Now, am I telling you that down the line, time won't change things? Probably, you know, but we'll cross that bridge when we're there.
So yeah, my thoughts just in terms of, you know, should he hand over the money? Shouldn't he hand over the money? And you know, the things that they're saying in the media and whatnot. Hell no, he shouldn't hand over no money. First of all, that weren't part of the contract. That weren't how he said from the start, that's not how the foundation does business. They don't hand over money. They handle the money and they make purchases on behalf of what is required. And you know what? If it was me, I'd do the exact same thing about give money to politicians. I ain't giving no money to no politicians, because guess what? I see this stuff happening in the UK and I see this stuff happening in Jamaica. Let's draw some parallels and see where birds of a feather flock together. Because the same politicians, what is it? Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, right? He's the one telling Shaggy, you should give over the 100 million. Where's it there? And all this kind of madness, yeah? All this kind of foolishness. He represents the JLP, yeah? So those who aren't from Jamaica and aren't familiar with the politics, JLP, that's the Jamaican Labour Party. Contrary to how it sounds, that's actually the equivalent of a conservative party. So they would be your Republicans in America. They would be your conservatives in the UK, or your Tories, however you want to spin it. So don't be fooled by the name Jamaican Labour Party. Their political affiliation is centre right. It's conservative, right? So now look, to answer the question, is Shaggy right or is Shaggy wrong for not handing over the money? This one's simple. This one's cut and dry for me. Ain't even gonna take long to explain. Hell no, he shouldn't hand over no money. A, because that weren't part of the contract and that's not how his foundation does business or has ever done business. So there's no precedent to that. So for the fact that the politicians are now coming out and saying, we can't see the money and it's been X amount of time and where's the money? That's not what the plan was from the jump. So just like he can't use the money for something else that he set out to raise the funds for because the charity laws, the politicians can't turn around and say, now we need the money, when that's not how it was agreed to begin with. The agreement was, we're going to raise the money, we hold and manage the money, and we use it to purchase the equipment and purchase and pay the contractors and do all of that. Yeah. And the reason why I fully support that is because, again, Jamaica's part of the Commonwealth, right? UK is part of the Commonwealth. Let's look at some similarities. Jamaica is currently governed by the JLP, right? The Jamaican Labour Party. And for those people that aren't from Jamaica or aren't familiar with the political system in Jamaica, despite the name, don't be fooled, people. Don't be fooled by the name Jamaican Labour Party, yeah? Especially my UK viewers. It's not Labour like our Labour Party, yeah? It's not the Democratic side of the fence like the Labour Party in the UK or the Democrats in the US. Jamaican Labour Party is the equivalent of the Conservatives or Tories in the UK and the Republicans in the US. And the reason I'm even mentioning that is because, look, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm in the UK, right? In the UK, during the COVID pandemic, yeah, conservative politicians and their friends and flunkies took a whole heap of money from contracts, so took a whole heap of public money and paid for like PPE equipment from companies belonging to their brethrens to the sum of like all 200 million, took that money, hid the money, banked it offshore for themselves and their dependents and their family members, basically. That's how they were running it. It was a whole joke thing. And this isn't me being no conspiracist. This is all public knowledge. Do you see what I'm saying? So they took that money that was raised for supposedly a good cause and they pocketed it themselves and they looked after their friends with the money. So that's the equivalent of the JLP, but in the UK. That's how they were running their thing, you know? So Michelle Monet, who was a friend of the former Prime Minister David Cameron, like well-known conservative, you know, flunkies, friends, like, might as well say groupies, like, they're just there, like, do you know what I'm saying? They were wilding with the money. Like, they were getting wavy, having parties. The health secretary, Matt Hancock, was cheating on his wife, had hella things, like kissing things and feeling up back off and all kind of things in public, doing the mad thing. Yeah? All while he was telling people that they need to be locked down and isolated. These men were wilding, having mad parties with the public's money. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So that's like, I'm not a fool, innit? So if they're doing that, if I know politicians are doing that in one part of the Commonwealth, what's to tell me that politicians ain't going to do the same thing in Jamaica? I'm not turning over any money. That don't make no sense. I raise the money, I'm going to decide how it's spent. It's as simple as that. In summary, it's not even an issue to me. Shaggy, hold your head up. Remember what the original mission was, yeah? And that's to help the youth them. And you have to stick to that mission. Forget the noise. It's water off a duck's back. Don't hand over no money. Obviously, get the thing done properly and bring back the concert, because at the end of the day, it's for a good cause. And if you can help people, there's too much right now in the world where it's all hate and harming people and all kind of madness. So if you can even help one child, then it's worth it, my G. Hold your head.